Hail and matches adventures, it's me, the Spud King. Welcome to the world of Baldurs Gate 3, and I welcome you at my Spore Druid guide. So, today we're making Druid Circle of the Spores build. For our race, I chose today Dwarf. My idea is you kinda can pick whatever race you like. This build will work. In Baldurs Gate 3 you don't have any additional abilities, so feel free to change this race. But I picked Dwarves just because I want Dwarven Resilience to have protection against poison, little bit dark vision, and proficiency with different weapons, but most importantly additional hit points, and this will increase every time we level up, so we got some hit points when we level up. Our class of course will be Druid, so our cantrips for first level will be Shillelagh and Thornwhip. Background will be Outlander to have athletics and survival skill proficiency, and our prepared spells. So for spells you can pick some supportive ones. Most of time you will use your cantrips at first levels, so Healing Word to heal yourself and your party in the fight, Goodberry as like nice healing spell, Chandra Wave just in case you will be in trouble, and Fairy Fire is very nice and strong spell to have advantage on attack rolls against targets. So for ability distribution we're going all in into Dex, Con and Wisdom. So Wisdom our primary ability for our spell casting, and we adding +2 to it. Constitution for HP and keeping our concentration going on, and we adding +1 to it. And Dex for our armor class, and we will basically use Dex-based weapons. Skill proficiency will go to Nature and Perception. And just like that, our Druid is ready to go. So Druids know all spells, but he needs to prepare spells, and basically you need to prepare them in advance. You can start your day with Goodberry, just use Goodberry and you will get some Goodberries. You can eat them to restore your HP or give it to your allies so they can restore HP too. And basically in a fight you want to start with Shillelagh as bonus section for 10 turns, or even before the fight it's your cantrip. For 10 turns your weapon becomes magical, doing additional damage, and you add your spellcasting ability to attack rolls. Basically you attack most of the time pretty successfully. And if someone trying to run away from you because you're playing Dwarf, if you picked race like me, you will be slower than other races, you can use Thornwhip to pull targets 3 meters closer to you, just like that. In case you want to run away from your targets, use Chandra Wave, but it will use your spell slot, and spell slots will restore only on long rest. And in case your party members are in danger, you can use Healing Word, but don't try to use it too much. You're not like healer. And another good option you can have is Fairy Fire. You just cast it on a lot of targets, and while you keep in concentration you will have easier times to hit these targets because you will get advantage on attack rolls against them, and all your party will get advantage on them too. So that's basically how you start as Druid, but let's level up and become Spore Druid. So we hit level 2 and we are going to pick our subclass. Circle of the Spores, of course. So this subclass will feature wild shape like other Druids forms, but this will be used mostly for exploration stuff, for some fun stuff, role-playing stuff. You don't want to get this wild shape in the battle too much. Maybe sometime you can use it just to become Badger for more HP, for example. So most important feature, you will get Hail of Spores and Symbiotic Ant, and as a reaction you can do 1d4 necrotic damage with Spores, and Symbiotic Entity will use Wild Shape Charge, so that's why you won't be able to cast Wild Shapes a lot. And this will give you temporary hit points, and while they active you dealing additional damage, 1d6 necrotic damage while you have this hit point, and you casting this Hail of Spores with double damage, so that's our main attribute. So it's like melee damaging class. And you get Bone Chill cantrip, pretty nice and useful cantrip too, but we won't really count on it too much. So we get one more spell on level 2, and right now you can pick Entangle, so you can entangle targets and they won't really run away from you because you're scary Druid. You're going to level 3. So you learn a lot of level 2 spells, and now you can change some stuff. If you're doing everything correctly, you kinda not this supportive guy in your party, so you don't need Healing Word right now. You don't need any damaging spells like Ice Knife, and you don't need to actually push enemies away. You want right now to keep enemies nearby you. So that's why we're having Fairy Fire, it's still a nice spell, and we're using Gust of Wind to push enemies 5 meters, keeping them off balance, so we get advantage on attack rolls against them, and basically you want all spells that will help you get in melee range against targets. So Hold Person will work nicely, Spike grows to control battlefield and use this as zoning tool. And you don't have a lot of spell slots, so just take some level 1 spells too. Entangle will still work. And Goodberry, again, like supportive spell, still nice. So at least some supportive spells. So let me show you this level 3 Druid in action. So again, you kinda want to start your day with casting Symbiotic Energy to get these additional health points and become this Spore Druid. And you can still get some good berries from before, so you don't need to cast them a lot. You can basically use one day to cast a lot of good berries with level 1 spell slot, level 2 spell slot, so you get a lot more good berries, and that's kinda free Helen potions. So just like that, you're ready to go into the fight. And the Circle of the Spore Druid, you basically doing Shillelagh from the start of the fight, casting this cantrip on yourself, and now your weapon doing from 5 to 17 damage with all these buffs. And you want to just run and try to attack your enemies. If you can't attack your enemies, you can use Gust Wind to push them in some bad spots, but most of the time you won't use this spell actually because it's like pushing away. So another good one is Spike Grows to affect battlefield. You basically can place this on enemies and they will be inflicted with a large amount of damage. Or another one is Fairy Fire. So when you cast it and keep concentration on this, you will get advantage on every attack roll. But right now we don't need it, we got 95% to hit. So let's just hit this imp and I'm sure you this damage. So Circle of the Spore Druid with basic weapons making this amount of damage. He basically rolling 1d8 from our quarter stuff. Then we add in our wisdom modifier to this because we are getting this Shillelagh. And then we add in additional 1d6 necrotic damage to it, and it's only on level 3. And we can use this reaction Hail of Spores with double damage if a target is still not dead. And that's the coolest part. So we can use this as reaction, and basically our Circle of the Spore Druid on the first level making insane amount of damage because we're hitting enemies with crazy amounts of damage, and we can use this Hail of Spores for 1 more damage, but they can use con save and actually be saved from our attack. Additionally, you can use Hold Person to concentrate on it if it's humanoids, and these humanoids will get critical hits every time you attack them. So some crazy spells we got, some nice damage we got. And I guess it's time to level up and show you final level of our Circle of the Spore Druid. So at level 4 we get additional cantrip, you can use whatever you like, it doesn't matter, so we get guidance just for role-playing stuff. We can have 1 more prepared spell, and right now it doesn't matter, so it could be any spell you wish. So you can use Cure Wounds, maybe you think you need this like healing in the fights, or just use Moonbeam for another zoning tool. But most importantly, we get additional feat right now. And for feat on this level, we want to round up our attributes. So basically we add in +1 into Wisdom and +1 into Dex. Then we're going to level 5. We got additional class Future for Wild Shape. We don't need it, so we don't care actually. And we can prepare some spells. So we get access to new spells from level 3, and we can use protection from energy if we need protection from one of the elemental sources, and plant growth because we don't need to concentrate on this and it will create hard terrain, so we can use it together with other spells. So let's go to our next level, and it will be Druid level 6. So we get additional actions, we can become Panther, we can become Owlbear. Again, as Circle of the Spores, we're not using it, but we got Fungal Infestation, and we can raise mold encrusted zombie from a corpse. That sounds cool. So we got additional spell, again pick whatever you like, we don't care about spells right now. Our level 7 comes with some level 4 spells. And on this level you want again some nice controlling zoning tools from level 4. So good picks will be Grasping Vine or Wall of Fire. So let's continue our leveling. And we are now level 8. On level 8 we got additional feat, Medium Armor Master. We will be melee class, and we want to wear this medium armor to have additional AC as a really melee frontlaner who inflicts large spore damage. Next up we're going to level 9. On level 9 we got some additional spells, but basically nothing that will change our tactic. So we can use Wall of Stone, for again zoning tool, but there's nice zoning tools in previous spells, so you can use Mass Cure Wounds as level 5 spell slot to basically heal yourself and your allies. Level 10, we're going to have new class features for wild forms, we don't need them again. We're getting one more cantrip and we don't care, so we can pick whatever you like, but most importantly we're getting one more subclass feature, spreading spores. So while symbiotic entity is active, you can create cloud of spreading spores. What does this mean? We basically can create the spreading spores, and this will create area of spores with 2 to 16 necrotic damage. And this is basically bonus action, so that's like crazy stuff and very cool and fun stuff. So we get one more spell, and basically you can pick whatever you like, whatever you want. So you can pick like some situational spells, like Dominate Beast, for example, if you will fight against some strong beasts. And it's time to go to level 11, of course. So level 11, again, nothing changed. We still will use the same tactics, hit and run, just come and dominate persons. So you can use Wall of Thorns for a strong zoning tool, or Hero's Feast if you want additional HP and other stuff, but actually it depends on what you actually want, and even you can pick 2 spells at a time, but you will get only one level 6 spell slot, keep this in mind. So instead of Moonbeam we can pick like Wall of Thorns, and we finish our build at level 12. So for level 12 we can pick one of 2 feats. We can pick Tough to increase our maximum HP by 2 for every level, and we finish at 135 HP. So we will be really fat Spore Druid, or we can use Ability Improvement and finish our Wisdom at 20 to max out. And that's actually what I recommend to do. So let's go and show you this late game monster in the action. So basically you can start your day with Hero's Feast to increase your maximum health points even more. Don't forget to cast Symbiotic Entity on you, and you will get 48 temporary hit points on this level. And basically all you want to do in the fight, come to your enemies, cast Hail of Spores as a reaction, cast Spreading Spores as bonus action, use Fungal Infestation on corpses to pick up these corpses basically, and have this little like fungally zombies. They not scale too much, so they still will have only 9 HP, but these zombies can create more zombies, so it's like really funny subclass. So in the fight you basically creating plant growth to make this roses stuff over the place, and you can make grasping wine to just try and it will pull enemies towards it. Or you can concentrate on spike growth instead and make this like big area that will be like hard terrain, and everyone who's standing on it having hard times. And you can combine it with your Gust of Vine. So you basically cast it behind your enemies, you use Gust of Vine, and basically push your enemies on these spores, on these vines. And just like that, they will be dead in no time. And as Druid you will have really poor AC, so you definitely want to have medium armor to increase your armor class, and shield. So basically you wanna have medium armor, shield, and some weapons that will scale with your dexterity. So at the final form you will look something like this, with 20 AC, nice armored Druid of the Spores, with a shield and some type of scimitar or other weapon you are proficient with. And dexterity weapons like scimitar can free up our bonus action, and we don't need to use Shillelagh no more. So we're actually losing a little bit of damage from using just normal weapon instead of Shillelagh, but we won't attack anyway. Most of the time we will use our spells and just spread the spores everywhere. So let's go into the fight. And while we can attack on early levels, on the later levels you basically want to go and cast your spells. It can be anything from combination from Spike Growth and Gust of Wind, but it's old spells from level 2, they're not damaging too much, to basically using Gasping Wine. And this wine will try to lure enemies into it basically. So you can freely use this Hail of Spores and just melt everyone into ashes. And Hail of Spores uses reaction, it's doing double damage while you got this additional bonus hit points, and you can use your Spreading Spores on your enemies just like that. And this creates areas of necrotic spores that's damaging enemies. And this again your bonus action, so basically every turn, you want to use this bonus action to move these spores. And you can place these spores over this vine, and this vine can use its action every turn to pull some enemies into this spore location. So while being pretty easy class at first, this Spore Druid actually needs to think like in chess, few turns in advance. He needs to place the spores, kill enemies a little bit, attack with his little zombies, and even little attacks from zombies can force enemies to become other zombies. And while they not being too big and too hard for later levels of the game, they still walking guys who doing some damage, and they treating targets. That's most important thing. So you can dash with them and go to range attack targets who can attack you from the range. And your mini zombies will act on their own basically. So then you on your next turn can just move the spreading spore stuff over other guys, and you only using bonus action to do so, and you can use your action to make some hard terrain, for example, so enemy will have hard time to go away from these spores, and if they try to run on you, you can use Gust of the Wind to push them back for 5 meters, etc, etc. So your possibilities is basically, and your idea of playing to be like this zone control mage, but you're going in melee form with highly armored dude. And you got a lot of HP, so you can be tanky guy who doing this stuff. So you create zombies, create more zombies, use the spores, they attack enemies, just like that. But if every enemy fly, don't forget you can end your concentration and just press on this X to the left. And there's no more spores, so you move your spores again on next turn to attack all enemies over here. And now let's use our Wall of Thorns, our late game spell, and just attack these guys. Crazy stuff. Don't forget you can use Halo Spores as a reaction again. So very funny, very cool and interesting class to play. I hope you enjoyed this Circle of the Spores Druid build from me. And go watch other cool videos of Baldur's Gate 3 right now on the screen. And make sure to check pinned comment for other builds for other classes when they are ready. See you in the next videos, friends.